Alrighty, everybody. Welcome to the AEW All Out 2021 recap show here. Radio Tekkers live. Let's go. Okie dokie. Howdy, everybody. I am Tanner, aka the Text Gentleman, and I'm joined with my good friends here. This wonderful panel of Radio Tekkers, hosts and content creators. We've got Mr. Ray Cash, we've got Ori the Draw, and we've got the Podfather himself, Mags. How are y'all doing today?
Yeah, just another Sunday night. No big deal.
We aren't hyped. We don't. Where's the energy? Let's bring the volume up here.
Well, you want us to scream?
What's happened?
Oh my!
What's happened?
You know what it was? We're 4 days away from NFL football. That's what it is.
There you go. No, tonight was AEW All Out.
That's right,
everybody. We had an amazing show. Here. CM Punk's first match in over 7 years. We had some debuts, some surprises, some excellent matches. It's been a crazy night here. So yeah, I'm totally pumped for it. Why don't we talk about well, let's start from the top. Well, the finish really. Debuts here by the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, Baby.
Well done. Look at us as a group.
Indeed. Yeah, mind blowing here. So the finish, Kenny Omega, he defeats Christian Cage. He's talking about how nobody can beat him. There's nobody else on the planet who can compare to him. And then the lights go out.
Oh,
and...
No.
You gotta get that.
All right, then somebody tell the story then. Go ahead.
Okay, so he said that there was no wrestler on the planet who could beat him. They're either all retired or they're already dead.
Lights out.
Lights out, because Adam Cole was last time we saw him.
Okay, well, there you go. If you want the full context and 11 years worth of backstory, there you go. Thank you, Mags. So yes, Adam Cole comes out down the ramp, and noticeably, he comes out through the heel entrance tunnel, which should have been a tip-off for everybody. But, he comes out, and he does the thing. The crowd goes wild, and they expect a confrontation there. It's just Adam Cole by himself staring down, the Elite, until he super kicks Christian Cage and just buddies up with them. Everybody's just mind blown. Jungle Boy comes down to the ring. He tries to break up the brawl that's ensuing with Christian Cage. Luchasaurus comes down to the ring with Luchasaurus comes down to the ring with Jungle Boy as well. It's not looking good. And then we get this really awesome hip-hop version of the Flight of the Valkyries. And it is none other than...
the front yard shitter!
Oh, come on.
It's none other than the American Dragon himself, Bryan Danielson.
Your boy wasn't paying the royalties for the final countdown.
No. No, I mean, AEW threw everything at the wall in this show, and normally when a wrestling company does that, a lot of it doesn't stick, but they landed everything today. The debut of Ruby Soho was brilliant. Adam Cole coming out, that was a show ender by itself, and then to top it off, they threw out American Dragon Bryan Danielson. This was amazing. They absolutely knocked it out of the park. I loved all of that ending. It was such a well done finish to a show. I'm so excited now for Dynamite.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Ori, what did you think of these debuts here? Because there was a lot going on. We didn't even bring up the Minoru Suzuki appearance.
Oh my gosh!
Amazing.
I went nuts. I went absolutely nuts. And my husband's like, who? I'm like, murder grandpa. Like it's freaking Suzuki Minoru. Like it's like, and I told him, I'm like, if Suzuki smiles, you're dead. Mm-hmm. Like that's how it works. And he came out smiling, and I was like, yes.
And hearing Chicago singing Kazarina as well.
God, yes.
Oh my God, that was so good.
It was amazing. And it really, I think, solidifies how big New Japan has gotten over in American audiences for a while now. Like, why the American incursion hasn't worked, I don't know why, but I think this pairing of New Japan and AEW will do very, very well for them. And I'm super stoked. Super stoked for this. I really think that Mox versus Suzuki is a pay-per-view level event, but if you've got limited time before Suzuki has to go back to Japan, then I think this is perfect. Have him show up, after the match, tease it, and then promise the match during the show for Dynamite. Take advantage of that as much as you can. Now I just want Ishii. Like, give me Ishii. Give me the Pitbull.
Don't tease us like that. Don't tease us like that.
I know. I want it.
And it makes a lot of sense, too, because they're in Cincinnati Wednesday. And Moxley's going home. And who else is better for him to fight than, as you said, the Murder Grandpa?
Oh, hell yeah.
Murder Grandpa, for sure.
And what a cool little US tour Suzuki's having. I mean, the dude's fighting Jonathan Gresham as well soon.
Oh,
that is going to slap. And then before that, we get Moxley versus Suzuki again. Oh, my days. AEW are just delivering.
Mm-hmm. Ray, your thoughts on the debuts tonight?
Well, first and foremost, shout out to Ruby Soho, who is the most deserving human being in the world.
Yes.
For that moment, I'm so happy for her. I got emotional seeing her get emotional because God knows she deserves all of the accolades and love she got.
Did you catch the moment at the very end after she won? And she turns to Bryce Remsburg and goes, "Hi, Bryce."
Just so sweet. Yeah. I'm so happy for her, especially the Destination AEW on the back. That was cool.
Oh, that was great.
Because Ruby had the best videos of all the videos.
Well, and the obviously getting the Rancid rights to the rights of Rancid's Ruby Soho makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's a no-brainer. I felt like they might do like a mock-up version of it, but they went and got the real deal, which is,
I still don't know why he spent the money on Europe Final Countdown, but hey, Mikey Ruckus came up with a banger because his music's better than the best music ever had.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
When I was sitting here like waiting for electricity to come back on, this week, but with everything going on, like I really found myself kind of in a depression, and I threw on the AEW wrestling themes on Spotify, and let's talk about that for a second. That entrance for the Lucha Bros, like, oh my God. Like, okay, so y'all know I had to go run and get dinner, so I had to switch from Fight TV on my Fire Stick to my phone so that I could keep watching. And so I'm in my mom mobile, my Traverse, bumping down the road, just, yeah, we're the Mexicans. And I, whitest woman in the room, just, yeah, settle, middle.
Didn't get like some cross looks.
I don't know. I don't care. I have been bumping this. I didn't even care. I have been bumping this for 3 days and singing along to it, and to not only hear it, of course we're gonna hear it, but to have Mikey out there and just killing it. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I screamed so loud for Mikey Ruckus. I was like, yes.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Awesome. The headdressers. I mean, even Alex,
the varsity jackets.
Yeah, I mean, it looked odd. It definitely looked odd, but it was absolutely awesome, and they followed up with an absolutely amazing match. What was all this though for the Jacksons? This was weird, brother.
I think of that. This is what I think of immediately when I hear that. The reason JBL said why he wore the towel underneath his jacket. They asked him why, and he said, well, I saw a dude do it at the gym one day, and I just got pissed off. And he was like, well, I'm going to do that. When you see the Jacksons like that, don't it just make you mad? It works.
It makes me angry.
This might be a very like United States thing, but and especially like during the late 80s, early 90s. But like, it looks like Nick Jackson just got a whole bottle of a bunch of bottles of Sun In. And the ladies will know what I'm talking about. You'd spray it in your hair and the sun would lighten it. He looks like he just went nuts with a bottle of Sun In all over his hair and then just right there. It was ridiculous. I'm like, what even is Nick Jackson's face right now?
We've got some, just real quick here, Ray. I'll get right to you here in just a moment. We've got some people in the chat, so I want to say hello. How's it going, Connor? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us. Mike JC in the chat says, my God, what a show, and how refreshing not to have a single thing to complain about on a wrestling show.
Oh, I mean, we'll get there.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk
we
about
did
it.
see QT Marshall, for God's sake.
Connor in the chat also adds that he will be at Dynamite on Wednesday night. So
cool.
So enjoy Minoru Suzuki and
Absolutely.
Jon Moxley,
Yes.
because that was my 2020 match of the year in New Japan. So yeah, that's gonna be tasty. And a big pause on the puppets in the chat as well. Welcome, JPQ. He says, "Woo! Holy cow! What a show! Yes, indeed. Yeah." This is gonna be fun. So let's actually talk about the matches here. Let's not waste any more time.
Fuck that.
Well, Ray, I'll get back to you since you said you had something real quick to say.
Oh, I was just going to say that Mark Quinn doesn't have the worst hairstyle anymore in AEW. So
That's a good point.
Yeah.
do I complain about Adam Cole now or later? You tell me when you want me to do it.
I mean, we can do it later. Do you want
Okay.
to save it for later?
You're the boss.
If
I'll
we
follow
say we
you,
do it
bro.
later, he may forget about it.
Okay,
Oh,
go ahead and
sorry.
say it now so you don't forget about it.
I'm hang on. Well, no, see, he's telling on himself because age, right? But no, I'm not complaining. I just, man, I didn't want him to leave.
You're in
And
NXT laugher. Yeah.
Well, 100%. And my biggest fear, I feel, is happening because I didn't want him to go and just be another guy. And he went and instantly joined the biggest faction in the show. So I am nervous. But Tony has shown, man, he has a propensity to deliver. Even when it's not good for the future of his company, he'll deliver for that night. So I'll shut up and watch.
We'll see how he juggles this. Let's celebrate the victories while we have it, though, and talk about tonight's show. The Buy-In kicked us off with a 10-man tag team match here. Matt Hardy, the Private Party, and TH2 taking on Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, Wheeler Yuta, and the Jurassic Express. This was actually really, really fun. I didn't expect this to be so much fun, but it really was. Ori, I'll kick it over to you first. What did you think of this match?
I think I missed this one. Okay.
Brilliant.
I did too.
Ray, what did you
I
think of
missed
this
it
match?
too.
I knew it was gonna happen. Too.
Oh,
So
you
in
pair
my
of
defense,
douches.
in my defense, I was putting together a desk and getting things set up for the new studio. So it was I probably heard it happening because I probably had it on, but I honestly don't remember anything from this match. If I actually heard it and or saw it.
I watched it.
I'm sorry. Go for it,
Tanner,
Mags.
Tanner,
Take it, Mags.
I won't let Team Tekkers down. I
Okay,
watched
Mags,
the match.
what did you think of this match?
It was it was the worst match of the night, but it was entertaining. It was fun. There was a cool spot where there was about 5 or 6 guys all giving submission moves to each other before Luchasaurus came in and just barrel rolled everybody. I thought that this would probably be the end of the Matt Hardy and Orange Cassidy storyline, but that seems to be continuing when we saw Cassidy almost get his hair cut. It happened. It was fun. It was a typical kind of kickoff match, kind of an appetite wetter for the rest of the card. Thankfully, the rest of the card absolutely delivered.
Oh yeah, 100%. It was again. It's not the best match. I just thought it was fun.
It was absolutely fun.
It was fun. Ray,
Some great spots. Really fun.
Yeah. Ray, how about you? What did you make of this 10-man tag match here?
So I walked in the house at 6:44.
Oh, okay. So you also
and I'm
didn't watch
Central
this.
Time. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
But
this
I
has
bet it
gone-
was fun though.
We've had a banging start here to this show recap.
Man, the show ain't start till 7:00, Tanner. Be real.
That's right.
Let's move on to the main card here. The show really kicks off with the TNT Championship match. Eddie Kingston challenges Miro in what was a really highly anticipated match here on this card. I think a lot of people were really rooting for Eddie Kingston to take the title off of Miro, but that was not to be here. Miro puts on a very convincing performance here as TNT champ. What did we think of the match, and is there anybody out there who could possibly beat Miro? He looks really good right now. Ray, I'll kick it over to you since you said you walked in the door right on time to see this one.
Yeah. I'm nothing if not timely.
Punctual.
Yes, punctuality is a strong suit. To quote the great modern philosopher Biggie, big meaty men slapping meat. I love this match. It was so fun. And as much as I love Eddie Kingston, I stopped caring for a lot of his stuff when the bell rings. Because Eddie Kingston is a talented wrestler, but he's not the most talented wrestler, right? He's very good at what he does. But he gave Miro a great match. And you don't see Miro as big and meaty and huge as he is selling often. Eddie gave him something to sell. Look at his body after the match ends. His whole chest is red. His side is red. He can't. I know this was kayfabe, but he couldn't even hold the title up with his hand. Like he was in a fight, and like that's what I appreciate about Eddie Kingston matches. The one thing I do appreciate is that they feel like fights. And Miro had to have. He's been blowing by everybody, destroying everybody. He needed a good fight. Very fun match. When I heard they were starting with it, I wondered, was this the right match to start to show off with? Well, it was, because it delivered. It had some really fun spots. Going old school never hurts with the taking the turnbuckle off and then the mule kick to kind of when you're holding the ref. Like old school always rules if you do it right. Yeah, man. I don't know who's next, but I could see Miro like beat fools for the next 2 years. I'm loving it.
Wow, 2-year reign for Miro.
I'm being facetious, but you know me. Yeah. So, okay, literally, I can see him doing it for another 110 days.
110 days. Okay.
Oddly specific.
Yeah, very, very specific there.
Oh goodness. Well, Ori, did you have a chance to see this one?
I did. I
Good.
did catch this one.
Good.
I was very excited for Eddie Kingston. I thought the hype, even though it seemed like a kind of quick build up for this bout, I felt they built it well. I was invested, and I don't know how I feel about the ending. Like, I like that Miro won, but I hate that Eddie lost. Like, I'm in that weird in between stage. Like, I really love Eddie Kingston, and I'd love to see him with a title run, but at the same time, like, Miro's just been so much fun to watch. You know, he has that typical just, I am God's chosen man and I will kill everyone. I will redeem them all and go home and have my lovely wife, my lovely flexible wife. It's just been fun to watch, and hear whatever the hell's going to come out of him.
Not the having of the lovely wife part, but the wrestling part.
We're not even going to talk about what those two tweeted tonight after that match.
We don't have to. It's okay.
Yeah. There's a market for that. I'm just saying.
Something about fans. I don't know.
Not anymore. They're changing that. But
they recounted. They've realized the error of their ways, and that was that it was their entire business, and so they
like back. Money. Yeah, they like money.
Oh, and so I don't know. Like, I didn't hate it. I didn't I can't say I didn't love it, because I did. I thought it was a great match, but
You wanted more from it.
Yeah, I guess maybe I did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't say the wrong guy won or the wrong guy lost either. I don't know. I guess maybe if it continues with, I think what I would like to see is more of Eddie versus Miro, and I think maybe if we got a questionable finish, it would make sense to continue it, and we didn't. So it's like, all right, so now maybe we've got to go through somebody else. Who? I don't know. I really don't. Danielson could be fun, but that it seems to me that the way that they ended the show, it's going to be Kenny versus Danielson next. So
possibly
that would make the most sense to me.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely possible that you could go Danielson if you didn't want to have him go one-on-one with Kenny right off the bat. Mags, what did you think of this opening contest here? And Miro's dominance as a champion.
Yeah, I think I'm more in Ray's mindset than Ori's. I see Ori's point that you could have expected more from this, but I think the way she mentioned how quick the build was, I think this was as good as we probably could have got out of them. I've got to give a shout out to AEW, the T-shirt company, because Redeem These Nuts is banging. That is a quality T-shirt. But yeah, I like the way that Eddie made Miro seem human. When he was saying he has a weak point and he's going to focus on his neck. And he said fair play to guys like Fuego, but they're not on his level. And I think this was kind of a warning to Miro that if he doesn't fully concentrate in a match, he is beatable. The right guy for me did go over. I think there's plenty of legs in a Miro dominating this mid-card division. But yeah, it was a really good, brave match to start with, but a really good call. I really enjoyed it, and again, set up for a really, really top draw card from AEW.
Indeed, and we'll get to that right now. The card then moves from strength to strength here, as the next match was Jon Moxley taking on Satoshi Kojima in really almost a dream match here. If you're a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Satoshi Kojima is kind of one of those not AEW, but like one of those New Japan granddads, right? Like he's normally there for like the Young Lions matches and to help, improve the young guys. But here we have him taking on a real seasoned pro and former AEW heavyweight champion Jon Moxley. And this was really good. Kojima gave Moxley a big run for his money here. Mags, I'll start with you first. Since you fancy yourself a bit of a New Japan aficionado, what did you think of Satoshi Kojima here?
Yeah, we mentioned it on a stream earlier on today how Kojima is a New Japan dad, but people, especially younger fans now, won't really know what he's done in his career. I mean, this is a guy who broke boundaries with All Japan and New Japan, being champion in both companies, and this was for me. This was potentially the match of the night. I don't think it quite lived up to it, but we got everything that we needed to get. We got the shotgun chops. We got the Koji cutter. It was a hard knockdown, drag out kind of Moxley match that he's really, really becoming known for. I mean, it's similar to his how he was in WWE, but just with the volume turned all the way up. I'm loving the freedom that he's got. This kind of like New Japan / Indies tour that he's going on. It's really exciting because you never know who he's facing next. I mean, we do this week, obviously, with Murder Grandpa. But yeah, I really enjoyed this match. Again, kind of like the opener, the right man won, but it took a hell of a lot for Moxley to keep Satoshi down. Yeah, it was a great match. I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Ray, your thoughts on this match?
So, Kojima is a New Japan dad, but he's also like the Triple Crown winner. Like he's one of the most decorated Japanese champions And I say Japanese because not just New Japan, like all of them, like ever. But we know him because the majority of the Western world knows New Japan post
Omega Okada.
Yeah, right. That's around that time. Is when we, when Jeff Jarrett had Global Force, they were on pay-per-view. So we know Kojima as the guy that likes bread. And the assumption is that any of those guys over there can wrestle a great match. So I knew he could wrestle a great match. I was curious to see how into it I would get. And someone said on Twitter, and I love this because it seems so real, that Tony Khan apparently must have asked John Moxley, who do you want to feud with? And he said, Japan.
I just want to fight the country of Japan.
Everybody. And it made like long-term booking. If this is all building up to him in the dome versus Tanahashi, then we got something here, right? But I appreciated that he started the match with a little piss and vinegar, almost playing a little heel, and was selling like crazy for Kojima. Like I'm a shield mark. Moxley don't sell like that. He's sold for Kojima. And by the end of it, he was like praising him and thanking him. You could tell that there's so much respect there. And Kojima is a legend. He didn't hit the big lariat like he wanted to, but Moxley hit his big lariat. And 2 paradigm shifts, am I correct?
Yep.
Yes.
So that's
the second one was like the spark one almost.
Yeah.
Well, so one was like Dirty D's, the second was kind of a paradigm shift if you want to separate the two. Or Death Rider, if you will, from the New Japan years. But almost protects the dude too, because like ain't nobody kicking out of 2 of them.
Yeah.
So really fun match. I wasn't looking forward to it so much because again, it was an attraction, kind of like on the card to be on the card. But man, they worked like crazy. I appreciate the legitimate OG Shield entrance. So thank you for continuing to keep that alive. But man, Moxley's just fantastic. So anything he touches is normally gold.
I agree. Ori, same kind of question here, obviously, and with you also being a New Japan fan, Kojima here making this big debut, having this really great match with Moxley, and then of course Minoru Suzuki arrives. This is quite a moment, not only for New Japan, but AEW here as well. What did you make of this spectacle here that was Moxley and Kojima?
I thought it was great. I'm of the school that did not get into New Japan until Omega and Okada, and I think it was around Omega Okada 2 was the first match that I really saw and went, holy crap, and that got me back into wrestling. And so this is the first time I've even heard of Kojima. And AEW has done a great job working with New Japan, whether it's through Twitter interactions or through packages that they've put on their shows or wherever, or on YouTube or wherever, to promote this match and, let us know who Kojima is. And so, I was pretty invested, and I don't know what I can say more than what Ray and Mags already said. It was a great match. It worked really well. I do think it's Mox versus Japan, and I think I don't know why, but I love it. And I mean, Ray made a good point. If this is building to Mox versus Japan all the way to Tanahashi, it would make sense, because when he did the whole promo with the Forbidden Door, that's who he called out specifically. And if he's got to go through Kojima, Suzuki, and who knows who else to get to Tanahashi, I mean, I think that's awesome. That is such good long-term storytelling, story building, that kind of thing. Give me Mox versus Okada. Give me that for the second to last. He goes, you win past Okada, you get Tanahashi. I think that would be brilliant, because then you're facing one of New Japan's biggest current stars to get to, not the king, because that's Minoru Suzuki, but the ace. The ace. And
then if you get past the ace, you get Shingo.
And he's still signed to New Japan, right? He still got to deal with New Japan. Am I wrong in that?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think that was a big part of the forbidden door being opened is both Japan and AEW wanted Moxley, and so AEW was happy to make some kind of arrangements work with New Japan. I think Japan felt very much the same way. And you know who's the real winner? The fans.
We are.
We're the real winners here.
I'm still waiting for
the real winner is John fucking Moxley because he gets to
that's
wrestle all these amazing matches.
that too. Of course, with the Forbidden Door open, I'm still waiting for God to show up.
Oh,
I want God versus Good Brothers so freaking bad.
The amount
Would
of
that be
teasing.
Go ahead, Max.
I was just going to say the amount of teasing that Tama Tonga does on his podcast for them coming over to AEW is unreal.
Well, you saw they
can't
at the
wait.
New Japan Strong show, they had the confrontation. So
Yeah.
it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen probably in New Japan Strong.
See,
Which
and
again,
I haven't heard
still with it.
Tonga's podcast, but I see all of the back and forth but on Twitter, and
Kenny
Tama
Oshmega is the best.
It seems inevitable
gosh.
for sure.
I can't freaking wait. And then I want Gallows and Anderson to go away and just never come back.
Yeah,
I'm over them.
All right, yeah, fair enough. Good stuff here. Next match on the card, Chris Statlander challenges Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, for the AEW Women's World Championship. And I gotta say, you guys, the first kind of glimpses I saw of Chris Statlander in AEW, I wasn't given the best first impression but I must say, over the last few months, she's massively improved in my eyes, and we've all seen the evolution that Britt Baker has had over the last couple of years. Both of these young ladies are immensely talented, and they put on a really good match here, I thought. Obviously the finish comes in as Britt was hitting Chris Statlander with everything that she had. Statlander seemed to have an answer for it. She even went for a few spectacular moves herself during the match, but Baker hits the Pittsburgh Sunrise, which should have been a tip of the hat for all of us earlier in the night.
hidden in plain sight.
Right?
She also hit the stomp. She's been using this curb stomp a lot recently, so she hit the stomp on Statlander and finished the match with the lockjaw. So Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, retains the AEW Women's World Championship here. Again, another dominant champion in this division. Ori, I'll start with you here. Obviously, your thoughts here on this match, but also who is there next for Dr. Britt Baker? It seems like, somebody in a battle royal sometime soon, later on this card, might be arriving. Maybe.
Right. So let's stay with the match before we go that far.
Yeah,
Okay.
Tanner.
Let's
Jumping
not jump
ahead.
ahead. Let's not jump too far ahead here.
All right, fine. Here, we'll do this. Mags, you host the show now.
Wow. I was not
Oh.
prepared.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's salty.
I'm telling you.
Go ahead,
Wow.
Ori. Tell us about your thoughts on the match.
I'm having a big love-hate relationship with Dr. Britt Baker. Like, I'm not to the point. I'm not to Charlotte Flair levels of being tired of seeing her, but I don't know. I think it's because they built her to look like she's so incredibly unbeatable that I want to see someone pose a legitimate threat and challenge for her. Not that Chris Statlander wasn't, but there were just some parts of the match where I didn't feel like she looked as strong as she could have to give Britt that, okay, I should be somewhat worried. I just didn't get that feeling.
You thought it was always in the bag.
Yeah, and I get it. It's part of her character. She's cocky. I'm a doctor. Not a role model, but you know what I mean. That's somebody
dentist.
else's gimmick. Yeah, I'm a dentist and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Like, I want someone to pose a real threat. And maybe we'll get that with Ruby Soho. I think they're potentially building Jade Cargill to look that way. And so I'm interested to see how that continues and plays out. But I don't know. I just, maybe it's because I just really, really like Chris Statlander, and I wanted to see a much bigger, stronger threat. I wanted Stat to be a threat. You know, I wanted it to feel, I wanted to see Britt get visibly nervous and go, okay, maybe I don't have this as in the bag as I think I do. You know, and it might be just a nitpicky thing on my part about the way Britt emotes in the ring. I don't know. I like the match. Don't get me wrong. You know, I would have liked to have seen Chris Statlander with the belt, but I get that they're way too behind on pushing Britt right now. She's way too over, and it's just. But I think she's going to have a legitimate contender in Ruby Soho, and I think she needs to get nervous. And so,
Mags, based on Ori's question, I'm gonna invert it slightly here. Should Chris Statlander be a little bit worried now as of the results of this match, because she's had a couple of title shots now against different champions? You know, she's not gotten the big one yet. Should Chris Statlander be worried about the increasing competition inside AEW now that we've had a debut of a certain somebody who we'll talk about momentarily, because I don't want to spoil it, and of course, you know, other people like Thunder Rosa or, you know, Tainara Conti, or, you know, all of these other talents that are coming in to AEW. It seems like they're getting a lot of a large roster here, a large ladies roster on AEW. Is her time a little bit running out here to try and, you know, win the big one?
I think it's a bit early to say that. She's still pretty young. She's clearly attached herself to one of the more popular wrestlers in AEW with Orange Cassidy. While she's not won the title, I still think that she's a viable threat. Like Ori said, she's definitely an amazing talent. But I think having more women's wrestlers just breeds more competition. Everyone will be trying to push each other to be better. So I think she'll be absolutely fine. And remember, she's not a real alien anyway. Jim Ross has said that. So come on.
Wait, what? She's not?
Hey, don't shoot the messenger. Jim Ross is the fucking liar in this scene.
But the Pentagon released the papers. I thought it was real.
Yeah.
get it together, Mags.
I apologize, but yeah, I think the match was great. I loved all the calls to Adam Cole, even the subtle things like how she reacted when she didn't get the pin from the curb stomp. I thought those kind of little teasers to Adam Cole. Obviously, now we know that he was there. I thought that was pretty cool, and I think it shows that. Being Adam Cole's partner is really kind of helping her grow as a wrestler. She always had the character work down from the time she was injured, and she really got to build that. I think she's becoming a very well-rounded wrestler. She's clearly one of the most over people in wrestling today. I thought this was a really decent match. Kind of a bit of a cool down from the matches that came before it, but you're always going to get that in wrestling. In fact, you need that in shows. You need to be like brought down a few octaves before you raise back up. And I think this match did exactly what it needed to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely fair enough. Ray, I think that you and I have had about the same reaction when Ori made the Britt Baker and Charlotte Flair comparisons. I'm not saying it's an invalid comparison at all. I think that it's an interesting one though. So do you also see these kind of comparisons between Britt Baker and Charlotte Flair here a little bit?
I don't, and I mean, like, if I can understand what you mean. right? When you have a dominant champion, that means that literally everybody that steps up is getting beat, and you clear kind of the path for anybody else to come to you. So that's, yes, they are similar in that sense. But the difference, I think, is the one thing that I think even the most ardent AEW fan will say they failed at is that the women's division has lagged in growing comparatively to the rest of their company. Right? They get one segment of Dynamite. Most of their matches are on Darker Elevation, which the majority of fans don't watch. That is where they've struggled. They've done markedly better, but it's been a while. And I think that's the issue that you have with Britt, because with the exception of Thunder Rosa, who she's already beat, on the babyface side, there's not a lot of people who are at the level of Britt. Like Ty Conti is over and great, but is she at Britt Baker's level if you're looking from a hierarchy standpoint? Probably not. Red Velvet wasn't, but Red Velvet stepped up, got promptly beat. So it's like, and the heels are the ones that are the big ones. Nyla, who's always going to be over for a myriad of reasons. Jade Cargill, who doesn't look like a human being at all, right? She looks like a cartoon comic book character, but they're heels. So I think that's the biggest problem, is you have to continue to build your roster and let there be people who right now nobody would give Britt an issue, which is why Ruby came in day one and is probably, with respect to Thunder Rosa, the most over babyface on that female roster. And so they're getting better and they're growing, but I think that's the issue. Hikaru Shida, who carried the company, got thrown out of too soon. But there's just not I don't think there was a lot of depth, and now there is getting depth, but now somebody has to get to the cream of the crop. In terms of the match, I can't remember which one of the four said it, but Chris Statlander hasn't done much for me. I appreciate her gimmick, I appreciate how hard she works at it, and I know she's talented. But eat boop. When after the match, Mags, what did I text you?
You said that Hikaru Shida was hot.
No, not that part. Wrong part. I said even Chris Statlander gave a good match, and it was a fun match, and it was cool to see Orange Cassidy get fired up, right?
Yeah.
Which if Orange is
was
behind
absolutely
you,
amazing. That was actually really.
Yeah,
because it's something that I've actually been clamoring for, a little bit of a more character from Orange. I mean, what he does is brilliant, the whole slacker thing. But when he gets fired up, I mean, we got it with the Jericho promo, and then we haven't really seen it since. But for him to be like, "Get up, Chris! Get up, Stat!" Yeah, that was cool. Him having a bit of emotion.
Hey man, don't be getting my business out there in public, bro. Come on, man.
and let me just say this.
And you're not wrong. She looked absolutely amazing.
Oh Lord, let me just say this real quick before we go anywhere else.
And I owe you a response, of course. Yes.
Yeah, the whole Charlotte thing, that is my personal feelings about Charlotte. I'm tired of seeing Charlotte just walk in and get a title. I'm over Charlotte as a whole, and that's where my comparison is. Okay, it's not comparing Britt to Charlotte in a company sense or a wrestler sense, but how much I'm seeing of them, it's too much for me.
It feels a bit oversaturated, perhaps.
Exactly. That's the comparison for me, and I don't want to take anything away from Britt. I do think she's a great wrestler. I think she has a great gimmick. She's a great women's heel, but I want to see someone look like a viable threat. I want to see her get nervous. I want to see, because we've gotten some good matches like that from Britt, but it's been a hot minute. And I want to see Britt get nervous.
And I think that's the beauty of the Battle Royal that we'll be talking about here shortly is we're now seeing with the new stars that are coming in and the new talent that AEW is developing that you don't have to give all the lion's share of the time to focus in on Britt Baker. You can focus in on other women as well, which is great. You know, I mean, that's what character development is all about when you have a entire women's roster that you need to crop up and develop along with your champions. So yeah, I absolutely agree, and I think that's a spot on argument. I think it's an interesting. I think it was very interesting that you said that though, and I do appreciate the comparison there. Um, uh, this next match, good night. I think we have AEW's answer to Walter Dragunov from just a couple weeks ago. We have the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers in a steel cage match for the AEW Tag Team titles. Mags, I was talking to you earlier, and I specifically said I really like this matchup here, but I'm a bit concerned about this being in a steel cage because they all like to do the flippy stuff, and a lot of that has to do with them exiting the ring. Mags, tell me how wrong I was.
You were the wrongest that you've ever been, because this may be
Fair enough.
the best tag team match that we will see in our lifetime. It was so damn good. This was better than
Lifetime.
the Bucks versus. This was better than the Bucks versus Hangman and Page. It was It was amazing. You had great storytelling with the mask stuff and the blood. Obviously, these guys can go in the ring. They're known mainly for being spots, but there was storytelling in the wrestling.
Yes.
It was so damn good. The shoe with the thumbtack stuck to it coming into play, kicking both the guys in the face. There was one spot that I really kind of didn't vibe with, but I can understand why people would have enjoyed it. Is where they were all stood in a circle and doing the chops and the super kicks. But they made it work at the end with the way they kind of kicked up the pace. Yeah, this match was fucking awesome. The moves off the cage, Phoenix and the Jacksons are so good at using the heart of the cage. It was amazing. I absolutely loved it. This was a brilliant match, and the right team won. I was in awe of these four wrestlers. It was just brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a very good match. Ray, was this the tag team match of the century, as Max put it?
I mean, look, no, it was great.
There you go.
I was about to start using ASL, no, it was fantastic, and I am very hard on the Young Bucks.
Yes.
I appreciate them massively for what they've done and who they are, but man, I have not been a fan of the Bucks for the majority of their run. I think their heel run has been brilliant. Mm-hmm. I think it's the best thing that could have ever happened for them as a team, because it's shown them they're so good at the meta stuff, right? It's shown the world that they know that the knock on them is that they don't tell stories. So they tell stories by not telling stories through telling the story. It's so extra meta that it's fantastic. Lucha Brothers and Young Buck matches, for me, I'll always watch them, but I hardly care because so much happens, and it's cool, but they've done it so much. Mm. But when Cutler threw the shoe in there, me and my daughter sat here, and literally we were screaming at the TV from the moment that happened until the finish. And that 15 minutes is some of the best wrestling I've ever seen in my life. Mm-hmm. And it just beautifully told. Penta got to have holes all in his face because my man was bleeding out his eyes. It was just
one of his eyes was completely bloodshot by the time the match had ended.
Yes. Beautiful stuff. Great wrestling. So fun. And you know what? I was not behind the Lucha Brothers winning because when I appreciate when you have that long and that dominant of a title reign, I don't like for it to be lost or to be changed off almost what feels like a transitional kind of, you're feuding because somebody got to defend the titles. And Lucha Brothers and the Bucks was such a last minute thing they built. I wanted it to be something passionate and big and a big moment. But man, they heated it up last week on Dynamite and Rampage. They came out with the superstar entrance. And by the end of that match, if you weren't pulling for the Lucha Brothers, and I'm a heel fan, I was screaming for the Luchas. So shout out to them. Great win. And even man, hugging the baby with the bloody face. Like, come on, yo. Oh, one more thing I want to mention. You know what it gave me a lot of vibes from? And if y'all watched old school TNA, you'll get this. Triple X versus America's Most Wanted. Did it not remind you of that?
Yeah. I can see the comparisons for sure. Yeah. This is a very, very good match. Ori, you were picking up some food. I believe it was Taco Bell, perhaps a Crunchwrap Supreme.
Yes.
Yes. You were bumping Ciero Miero as you were driving home. But I do know you also as a big fan of the Elite. I mean, you must have been a bit torn seeing this match happen here. I want to know your thoughts on the match, but also Lucha Bros winning this. It seems as though the title picture is not deleting itself, but it's deteriorating away within the grasp of the Elite. What's going on?
I mean, okay, so let's look at this as a whole.
Yes.
Okay. Kenny's already lost the TNA title to Christian. We know how the end of the show turned out. We will talk about that later. And now the Bucks have lost the titles. The Elite's always the best when they're chasing something. And when I say the Elite, I'm talking about the main three, the Bucks and Kenny, because that's how it started. But, I don't want to say I don't agree that the tag team division is deteriorating with a change in titles. Okay.
Well, I don't mean the tag division, but I mean the Elite, them having
all
the belts together.
But at the same time, I think that's good because it's going to, and especially with others who have miraculously appeared this evening, things are going to start getting shaken up.
Super click.
Oh,
you gotta watch it. You gotta watch.
What is the fingers? I don't understand.
You'll figure it out.
Kablam!
I think you'll figure it out, baby. But yeah, and there's a lot of other tag teams that are coming into the picture that are starting to really make their names known really well, like 2.0 with Daniel Garcia. So I think a shakeup in the tag team division is really good right now. I think a shakeup coming for the Elite, now that Kenny is the only one with a belt, it makes things more dire for the Super Elite as a whole, no matter who's here or not. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention, we were talking, earlier, you've already got God firing shots at the Good Brothers. So, or whatever they're calling themselves, just the two of them. I don't know. But, things are already kind of contentious, maybe not backstage, but now you're letting that story change and develop and see, okay, do we really need some of these other guys? Do we really, okay, how do we fix this? And it's good shit. It's really good shit. There's more long-term storytelling coming, because now we've still got Hangman back there somewhere.
Yeah.
We're still getting Hangman at some point. We haven't seen Hangman in 3 weeks?
He's been off TV for a while.
Yeah.
And
He's trying
I think
to find
it's
his way.
smart. I think it's very smart because yes, we've had CM Punk and now we've got 2 other people showing up and all of this other stuff going on. But some of us are going to be, at some point, we're going to be like, where's Hangman? Where's Hangman?
Easy.
And I think it's Yeah, but I think it's very smart that they're letting us be distracted by all of this other that's going on. Bucks have lost the title. Minoru Suzuki shows up. Other people are showing up. You know, it's letting us be distracted so that we forget about that for just a second. So when he shows up, it's going to be impactful because, you know, they've said from the beginning, wins and losses are going to count. They're going to matter. So no matter who shows up where, they're not automatically, unless they're in some type of number one contenders match, they're not going to automatically be going straight to, oh, I'm getting a title shot immediately. You know, people said when we were still talking about the possibility of Punk, oh, he's not going to come in unless he immediately gets a shot against Kenny Omega. That's not how it works. It would desecrate everything that they built about this company and building this whole thing up like it's an actual athletic sport, the way Japan treats it, and wins and losses will matter. It would tear down everything that they built. So having Darby versus Punk as the first match, brilliant, because it sets up for the whole wins and losses matter. That's a whole different tangent. This match
Yes.
was absolutely.
This feels like one huge tangent.
I know. It's me we're talking about. Of course, there's a freaking tangent involved. Have you met me?
Wait, how did we get to Punk?
I know we're all over the place. I'm all over the place, but I think it was great that Lucha Bros won. I think Lucha Bros should have won. It gives that storyline a chance to turn on its head and like, okay, Kenny's the only one with a belt. We've got to protect him. I think it's really smart storytelling. The tax on the shoe, I'm going, where's Candice LeRae? You know, callbacks to PWG. Like, it was all brilliant and wonderful. I had no idea what Cutler was throwing out over that in that bag. I had not a clue. And I was kind of wondering if he was actually going to make it over the cage, to be perfectly honest with you. I had half a thought. And I thought it was great that I think it was Shivani. It was like, well, he found something he's good at. He can throw a bag over a cage. It was the whole thing. I could watch it again right now. I would absolutely stay up and watch it again right now and be just as hyped right now as I was, 30 minutes ago, 2 hours ago. I don't even know how long ago it was. It was freaking phenomenal.
Yeah. It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Great
Again,
stuff.
Match of the Year candidate for
Absolutely.
sure. Definitely go and check it out. Let's unveil one of the things here that we've been hinting at over the course of the show, even though we talked about it at the very beginning of the show. I don't know. Casino Battle Royale, for I guess it would be a potential shot at a future shot rather at the AEW Women's Championship. We had Hikaru Shida, Sky Blue, Emi Sakura, The Bunny, and Abaddon as the clubs. The Diamonds were Anna Jay, Kira Hogan, Kylan King, Diamante, and Nyla Rose. Hearts, we had Thunder Rosa, Penelope Ford, Rio, Jamie Hayter, and Big Swole. Spades, Ty Conti, Red Velvet, Layla Hirsch, Jade Cargill, and Rebel. And the Joker in the deck here was none other than Ruby Soho, who has been hinting at her potential debut elsewhere. She's been really killing it with some video packages that she's been putting out on her Twitter recently. Amazing stuff. And the really nice touch is that she came out to Rancid's Ruby Soho, which seemed obvious to me, but I didn't know if they were actually going to pull it off. They absolutely did. She seemed touched by the moment, and it was a really great final two that they had between her and Thunder Rosa here. Yes. Ruby Soho wins this battle royale. Obviously, for me, it seems a little bit soon. I'm glad that she won. It seemed obvious that she would win it once she was in there. But yeah, I do think it's thoroughly enjoyable. We talked about how the women's division is stacked up now compared to maybe what it was a year or two ago. But this adds another level to it, guys. What did we think of this match? I'll start with Ray. Yeah, it's you.
Well, look, let me tell you about Hikaru Shida. I'm joking.
Let me talk to
Hey.
you about this Hikaru Shida.
Check out Radio Tekkers After Dark.
Oh Lord.
Oh, don't
no.
bring
Good night,
that back
guys.
again. Back gold. I've got some ranch dressing for Hikaru Shida.
I thought I had retired all the After Dark stuff, but if we're gonna bring it back, then might as well bring it back on a level. Go ahead.
Matt just made it dirty on a whole different level.
Yeah,
My
it's
goodness.
It's
Of course he did.
yeah, it's
Battle Royals were fun,
a
right?
long story.
Battle Royals supposed to be fun, right?
Yeah,
This was fun.
yeah.
I mean, it wasn't consequential other than the winner. And
I mean,
So-
I don't even agree with that. I normally am nonplussed about these casino battle royals, but this one stood out for me because we got storylines coming out of it. We've got feuds coming out of it. We haven't normally got that from AEW's battle royals. I mean,
were they new? They were all existing feuds already. Nothing new popped out of here.
Yeah.
Am I missing something?
I liked the hint at a potential between Soho and Rosa.
Yes.
I do like the potential that has.
And then we had Swole and Diamante, which was something that started a little while ago, but it's kind of gone off the boil. We had the Tar, Conte, Anna J, Penelope Ford stuff, which
the money.
So normally these kind of things aren't even acknowledged in these battle royals, but at least now AEW are kind of learning and growing and involving storylines in these multi-man matches, which it got me more interested than I would normally have been in a match like this.
I disagree with that unless you're speaking particularly on the women's casino battle royals, because the last one they had was the first one they had, and they didn't even have enough contracted wrestlers to put in the match. So yes, I'll agree with you there. But all the other ones they've had many stories inside of them. But again, battle royals is supposed to be fun. I want to say I was talking with you, Mags, about this on one of the shows we do. It may have been somebody else, but I appreciate, and there is no but here, truly appreciate that Tony Khan cares so much about sending the fans happy, and making the right move for the night. Yeah. But I'm with you, Tanner. Was it too soon? Mm-hmm. Because I think the match with Thunder Rosa was there. You can get to Ruby eventually, right? So, and he does this a lot where he'll sacrifice the future for the now. And again, that ain't bad so far because it's worked fantastically for him. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't have put Ruby over here. But when you heard her come out and you saw how crazy the crowd went for her, yeah, like I wouldn't have been surprised if they called an audible in the ring and said you got to go over, because like they were screaming for her. Mm-hmm. But just, good people deserve good things. It doesn't happen too often in this world. Mm-hmm. Ruby just got what she deserved.
But I mean, the way it ended, it still left it open for the possibility of, Rosa coming back saying, hey, that should have been my spot. I've been here. I've been working. You walked in off the street. There's still a lot of ways they can play this. I wouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater on this one. There's still room for, okay, well, Soho's going to go against Britt at whatever. At the next pay-per-view at Full Gear. But who's to say Rosa's not going to come in and interfere and cost her the match, continuing that feud and then running it back around, for her to actually build within the division and then get a second title shot.
I just real quick, I'd be disappointed if Thunder turned heel, because they don't have enough top level baby faces as it is.
I think
I'm fine with the face versus face feud. But if Thunder Rosa turns heel, then they've really messed up a whole lot, because they don't have a lot of top babies in the women's division.
I agree with you, and I think it would be a face versus face, and I think there's a way you could do it to really make it work.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they did note a lot of history between Ruby Soho and Thunder Rosa, previously during the Battle Royal. And I think that's an interesting point too here. I do agree a lot with what Mike JC is putting here in the chat. Says, so happy for Ruby. She's going to kill it in AEW. You got to save Thunder Rosa for Britt Baker. Needs a lengthy reign, and Rosa is beating her for that belt. I 100% buy into that narrative here. The time that Britt Baker beat Rosa for the title, or not for the title, it was not for the title. Britt Baker won a non-title match. Here, or was it Thunder Rosa that beat her? I don't remember. I just remember it being a really good match. That the lights out match was just really good.
Britt won that match.
Britt won that match.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think everybody won that match. So
yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I think that when it comes right back around, that Thunder Rosa is going to take that belt off of Britt. Not taking nothing away from Ruby here. I think she's going to put up a heck of a challenge, but I think we're in for a real treat when Ruby eventually challenges Thunder Rosa for said title.
Yeah, and there were also other stars that were built in this match as well. I mean, Jade Cargill, she looked $1 million for someone as green as she is. She looked like a massive powerhouse. And then with her being dumped over, I think it was by Nyla Rose, there's the potential of maybe a face turn for Jade there. So yeah, I really enjoyed this match. It was a fun, as Ray said, it was a fun battle royal.
Yes, indeed. We had in our next match here a little bit of controversy. As the final fight here between Chris Jericho and MJF, there was a finish spot here where MJF pinned Chris Jericho. Jericho put his foot on the ropes before 3, and head referee Aubrey Edwards counted the 3. Was then told that she did so in error because Jericho again had his foot on the ropes, and they decided to reverse the decision and call for a restart of the match, to which point, Jericho was able to, after a good bit of chain wrestling, apply the walls of Jericho and tap out MJF. So it seems like AEW tried to save face for MJF here a little bit by kind of giving the false finish. But then it's always going to diminish it a little bit if you're going to give Chris Jericho the win here. I don't think that Chris Jericho is ever going to retire here from AEW in this match. Yeah, this was it was an interesting spin on a finish here. Mags, you regard Chris Jericho as the GOAT. How did you think this went down?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that there was going to be at least some sort of smudge finish where Jericho didn't have to retire because he's still got time on his contract. We all know he's going on a tour with Fozzy, so he's going to probably have time away. So there was always going to be a way for him to reverse any kind of loss. And I honestly thought the foot on the rope, that would have been the perfect way to do it. Have him take that loss and then come back after the tour and say, nope, I didn't lose. My foot was on the rope. Here's the footage, blah, 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 blah. Reverse decision. Let's all forget that ever happened. But it's cool that they went and made it a final with Jericho getting the win. The match was great. Probably Jericho's best match in a year. I thought he looked really, really good. And there's a lot of times in matches he's botched. He's not the wrestler that he used to be. Carried a lot of timber there on the veranda. But I thought he did really, really well. I love the tease entrance by MJF. I thought that was just shit housing of the greatest order. So good. But yeah, I really enjoyed this match. I didn't like the guitar entrance. I thought I don't know whether it was a problem with him on guitar, whether it was too fast, or whether it was the crowd weren't able to keep up with the singing. It just felt off. It actually felt better when we got it with the whole of the Inner Circle singing along at the end. That it just sounded really weird. But yeah, this was a another fun match, another really well told match. I love that MJF used the Judas effect to put Jericho down. It was cool. I'm not a big fan of secondary referees getting involved. I've always liked the idea of the ref. If the ref misses something, it's canon and it stays in. But it is what it is. They obviously wanted to keep Jericho in the company, and it's just it was a decent match and a kind of a wonky finisher, so I suppose.
I will make a quick note here that I absolutely agree with you about the guitar bit, and I think that when Rick Boogs does it with for Nakamura when he plays the guitar for Nakamura, it works because then Nakamura's music actually hits and you get a bit of rhythm, like you actually have some rhythm going at some point. When you just have like a regular guitar out there just doing the song, it doesn't have the same kind of feel. The guitar is a very thin instrument. You need rhythm. The guitar is always going to be enhanced when you have a rhythm section with some bass and some drums next to it. So why you had just the guitarist and not the drummer and bass player there as well, I don't know. But I mean, I liked the a cappella version where the fans sang Chris Jericho in. You know, I mean, I thought that works really, really well. Ori, I was gonna kick it to you, but you look like you've really got your hands full here.
I don't know what's happening. She's decided this is where she needs to be.
Hey, you know, I've got no problem with that.
I don't get it.
Yeah, hey, I mean, it looks like a good problem to have, a very comforting thing to have your cat there with you. I do assume that is your cat.
Yes, this is my
Just
cat.
a cat, just a random cat.
Yes, no, it's a random
wandering
cat.
off the streets.
Never seen this cat before a day in my life.
Not a clue. No, this is Freya.
Hi, Freya. How you doing?
Freya, what did you think of Jericho versus MJF?
Meow. She complained a little bit. She was very upset by the false finish. Please don't put your butthole in my face.
Thought she would have thought the match was perfect.
Oh.
Can we kick him out? Can we kick him out?
I mean, we can't.
just...
No, I thought it was good. And I think if, while I agree with Mags, if the ref doesn't catch it, then that's how it should be because it can build for storyline later. I think for a match of this importance, he's never going to wrestle in AEW again, or he's never going to wrestle again, period. I think it was smart to have a secondary ref, to have Paul Turner on the outside, and especially with Aubrey Edwards as the head referee for this match, because there has been a lot of complaint back and forth between Jericho and Aubrey. I joked around in our chat, Jericho versus Aubrey, book it. It's the match everybody wants.
That's the feud. That's the real feud.
That's the real feud there. And I think, it goes back into that really good long-term storytelling that everybody that's really heavily involved in this company, all of the EVPs really enjoy, and so I thought it was really good. Really, really good. MJF, with the countdown, I was like, whoa, Jericho's coming out with I'll see what, because it threw me, because not only did we get the countdown, but then we got, Jericho's final match ever, or whatever it said. And I was like, that seems like a weird thing for Chris Jericho to throw out. And it was such a great little bait and switch that I thought was timed perfectly and put out perfectly. And then, of course, we got MJF trying his best with the Judas effect. It was all put together very, very well. And I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. She liked it too.
Oh.
Well, she's changed the tune.
Yeah. Did you like it too? Come here. There.
Ray, what did you think of this matchup, sir?
To speak to the referee point, first and foremost, yes, it could hurt your show if you have one match where a referee comes out, because then people are going to ask, well, why don't they come out for every match that has some shenaniganery? But to Ori's point, this was such a big match, And let's not forget, Wardlow came out, Hager came out to fight him, and Paul Turner came out to split him up. So he was already out there watching. It's like he came from the back. He was standing there the whole time watching. So they played that very, very cleverly. And I love a dusty finish like the next guy, right? I'm a child of WCW. I appreciate these things.
Yeah.
Man, the wrong person won, man. Like, and I say that I understand that this is absolutely a step that the babyface has to win. I'm with it. I get it. Jericho can't retire, right? I get it. But and this may be hyperbole, and I acknowledge that it may be. But I feel like you killed everything you did from MJF at this point. I'm not saying he's not over. He's always going to be over. But like, what was the point of all of it if Jericho was just going to get over in the end? Like, you've made him climb every hill and every hill and every hill. And I get normally baby faces do that, but we're in a company where the young guys are supposed to be the people pushed forward and center. And MJF has been that guy. MJF can be, and will be the present and future of this company. Nobody's beat him but Moxley. That's the only loss that man has taken with his pen, with his shoulders to the mat, right? That's it. So, and he's beaten Jericho to every point, gotten over Jericho, and now at the end of this, well, you know, Jericho won, so let's keep moving. You move, you go your ways, I go. You go your way, I'll go mine. You just had one of the most fantastic built storylines from day one to the end of the day, and now ultimately, so what does it do for MJF? More importantly, what does it do for Jericho?
Yeah.
Tomorrow, and I'm not being literally like to Monday, but like the next Jericho match or story, whatever, it's gonna be another Jericho story. Whereas
it means he's got a job to come back to once his tour's finished.
Well, so listen to the step. He didn't say he had to leave AEW. He said he can never wrestle in AEW again.
That's true.
We just made him a main commentator of our second main show. So he's still there. He's still a part of it. And anything can happen, right? But I just, if you're really going to build up your future, like, and again, this is just like I talked about with Ruby Soho. In the moment, if you're just sticking, if the world ended tonight, it was the right move for Jericho to win because the crowd needed it. Absolutely. But we got to think about next week and the week after that and the week after that and the week after that. And I just don't think any story is better told with MJF off of a loss and Jericho off of a win and going off of upon their cool little days. And then, all right, the last 8 months really didn't matter now.
And I think that's why the foot on the rope finish would have been perfect because it means that Jericho leaves the company in inverted question marks, but there's always that kind of a get out clause where it can come back. I think having a finality to the match kind of does ruin it, along with what Ray said. But Jericho is the current star. MJF is clearly somebody for the future, I suppose.
I'll give you a comparison. Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. If Ronda ever comes back, she could always say, "You never beat me. My shoulder wasn't on the mat. You got the win. You got the championships, but you never beat me."
Yep,
you know,
correct.
And that story is always there. Jericho could have came back at any moment and said, "You know what? I'll let you have your moment because my shoulders were pinned to 3. And you know what? The referee's decision is final. But understand, when I'm ready to come back, I'm coming back because you didn't beat me." There's just so much more you could have done with it. If you're thinking about it from a standpoint of what's next, you wouldn't have had Jericho win because nothing is next now. Nothing is next. Jericho's back. Cool. Okay, Jericho's going to wrestle such and such on Dynamite. MJF's going to wrestle such and such on Rampage. All right. Instead of MJF could have been the most over person in the company because he retired the guy who quite literally let them have the company. AEW was huge, but the reason AEW became viable to a lot of fans was because he was the known guy who signed on day one. Before he signed, it was a bunch of indie guys, right? With the Jaguars' son's money. I'm just being real. But when Jericho came out at that press conference, everybody said, "Oh man, this is real." The news outlets were talking about it because it was Jericho. With respect to Kenny, they weren't going to talk about Kenny in 2019. They are now, and that's a testament to how well they've built the people in the company. But at the time, Jericho is clearly the most important person in the history of AEW because he allowed them to be viable way earlier than they thought they would be. And MJF retiring that guy, he'll eat off that for the rest of his career.
It'd have been a made man. Made
man forever. Yeah. And now he's top hill number 3.
I mean, yeah, I think there's a valid point there to be made for sure. But yeah, I mean, we end up getting a pretty decent enough match here, regardless of the case. And I think that this is still something that you can revisit in the future. MJF and Jericho still has a lot of legs on it, I think. Maybe not now, but certainly in the future, I think. But we're getting to the point in the show where we finally get what the people paid their money for tonight in Chicago, which is for the first time in 7 years, CM Punk returns to the wrestling ring and takes on Darby Allin in his AEW debut. Now, in the chat that we had prior to the match here, there was a little bit of a talk about CM Punk's attire choice tonight. Interesting look here, him going with full pants instead of trunks
not a fan.
Fight
not
shorts. Not a fan.
Shawn Michaels at Survivor Series SummerSlam 2002.
Yeah, there was a little bit of that vibe. I agree with you there for sure.
I don't like pants funk. Don't like pants funk. Punk pants.
This was a Carter with pants level of bad.
It wasn't that bad. Was it that bad?
It wasn't pretty bad. It was not great.
Wrestling.
Okada's the worst ever in pants. I don't know if it was that bad.
Wow. Wrestling fashion aside here, though, what did we think of this match here? It was a little slow. It was a little slow, to say the least. I think that's to be expected because this is, again, Punk's first match back in 7 years. But I think Darby Allin was a really good opponent to put him through the paces here. What did we think of this one? Anybody?
Okay.
Go ahead, Max.
Go ahead, Max.
I think I'm going to preempt something that my esteemed colleague Ray is going to say. I think that this was the worst fight on the main card, and that sounds horrific. But you've got to put into context how good this card was. This was a great match by every metric, but it was very, very slow. Especially when you look at the style of wrestling that Punk has done all his career, and the style of wrestling that Darby Allin has done in AEW. I expected way more pace, way more kind of a high octane move sets. I understand why it was slow, because Punk is literally his first real match back wrestling in a hell of a long time. There was a lot of story to build. It was a really good match. We got kind of like a greatest hits with Punk attempting multiple go-to-sleeps. The go-to-sleep through the rope I thought was a great touch. Punk getting frustrated with the referee. I love the fact that we saw Punk teasing heelish kind of like attitudes and moves. I can't wait for that heel turn when he turns on these fans and they boo him out of the building. That is going to be absolutely superb. But yeah, I really thought the match was really good. A lot of big spots for both guys, got their big stuff in, and we see Punk bury the young talent. WWE style by going over, which is ridiculous. RIP for Darby Allin's career. Press F in the chat.
Wow.
So he's
That's
joking.
a lot.
But let me
I'm joking. Yeah.
But let me give a little credence to what you're saying, because Darby Allin's married. That's ridiculous. But I understand that this is this man's first match back. CM Punk is one of the biggest stars on the planet. I understand that. And in Chicago, first match back, 7 years, the way he left, him coming back, Punk gotta win, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But flip it the other way. Punk ain't wrestled in 7 years. The last time we saw him, he got his ass beat by twice in the UFC, right? 100%. We saw the man gain weight, which he wasn't working, right? We saw the man completely rest on his laurels and do a million other things. And his first match back, he fights a guy who never loses and beats everybody, right? So back to back in both matches, the guy that probably should have won is the old guy who went over on the young guy who the company's supposed to be built for. So, like, I'm not saying Darby was buried, but there's a legitimate argument here that Darby should have won. And again, I know people listening are rolling their eyes, and I respect it. I understand it. I get it. But you have to understand my level of fandom. What you do in ring is cool. That is the least most important thing to me in the entire scope of wrestling. What's most important to me and will ever be, and I think is what's most important to the business, is the story being told. And what did this match accomplish for the future? Nothing. Punk moves on, Darby moves on, and it's like it never happened. If Punk loses, Darby can say, I'm the guy that beat the best in the world on his first match back, and we can have a clear story of Punk. Man, am I still the best in the world? Right? You getting jumped by these guys who got fired from their last job and walked in and started jumping y'all. And now you really have to question, man, like, who am I? I got on these Shawn Michaels pants where, I just picked them up yesterday. They painted them on in the back. Man, who really am I? Do I want to be this guy? Am I the MMA fighter? Am I the kid in Ring of Honor who used to have the blonde hair and did the Pepsi plunge? Am I the kid from WWE who main evented major shows in 434 days? Who am I? And you can see that happen in real time. And there's a story there. Now, nothing. We just go to Dynamite. And that's the only issue I had with it. Now, I get it. I'm fine with Punk winning. I'm not complaining it one bit. I'm completely fine with him winning because I get why he needed to win. But I'm just saying, man, like, sooner or later, you can't book for the night, bro. You're going to have to start thinking about tomorrow. And, like, as All Out was fantastic, top to bottom, the only negative is the match that's next. Other than that, one of the best cards you'll see all year.
And I think they were, because this was a match that everybody was clamoring for, they were almost booked into a corner, because if they did have Darby Allin going over, he's one of the biggest baby faces in the company. He becomes instantly one of the biggest heels because he's beat the golden boy, the prodigal son. So I think they had to have Punk win.
That's why you don't make it a super face match. You put that man against the heel, bro. Put that man against somebody who can use the heat. I mean, I'm not against the pairing because Darby wasn't doing nothing at the time. I'm with it, but it just didn't. Nobody's better for it tomorrow.
I think it is a curious decision to have them go face on this one here with Darby and Punk. They couldn't find anybody to pair him as a heel. Maybe they felt like the heels were a bit thin on the night. I don't know, but it is a curious pick. I'll definitely give you the props for that for sure.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a minute.
Okay.
So,
I'm sorry, Ori. I'm sorry.
No. I get where you're coming from, and I don't disagree with anything you
you're
said.
in trouble.
I don't disagree with anything you said, but I will say this. Mags is right. They are painted into a corner. The prodigal son returns after 7 years. He's in his hometown of Chicago. Of course, he's going to go over. There's nothing else they can do. However, having him against Darby have that sign of respect after, both from Sting and to Punk, or from Punk to Darby, brilliant. You've already got a whole nother heel in Daniel Garcia waiting on him. Mm-hmm. There's still room for everything else that you talked about. Am I still as good? And now you've got MJF, one of the best heels that we've got in the company, now out of this whole angle with him and Jericho. That frees him up to be like, best in the world? Please.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It brings up, it works for a whole lot of ways. There's a lot of ways that you can take this. I do agree with Mags. They painted themselves in the corner. There's no way that Punk was going to lose. Mm-hmm. I think Darby still looked strong. Yes, it was a slow match, but I think it was done specifically on purpose, and I wasn't disappointed that it was slow because Darby is a very fast-paced opponent, and it's his first match back. It's Punk's first match back. And commentators, in the match, they said it, he studied his tapes. He's going to slow Darby down. He watched. He's been paying attention. He's seen how Darby operates. It was done purposefully to allow Punk to get his legs under him in the ring for the first time in 7 years with a crowd. And it worked. It was very smart the way they laid out that match, the way they ended it, Sting coming back out, the respect. And now we've still got Daniel Garcia waiting. We've got MJF freed up. There's still plenty of time and room for what you're suggesting. And I think it would be brilliant storytelling, especially since Punk has said specifically, I want to work with these young guys. I want to help them. I want to be the guy that other guys were to me. And so I think if they were to go that way, it would be great. It would be smart. And not that I'm not going to be invested in whatever it is that happens next with Punk. We're all invested. We all want to see where it goes next. But I think it would make for very good, nuanced, and compelling storytelling. And I'm here for it.
The only gripe that I really have, besides the pants, because I think the pants is
no pants Punk.
Just
wait,
just not great.
That's not what I meant.
I would prefer either the fight trunks or like his regular his regular trunks, right? The fight shorts or the regular trunks.
Yeah.
But I feel like, and this may be a self-inflicted criticism, because there was all this talk about how Darby's putting himself in this dangerous situation in Chicago against CM Punk, the hometown guy. It's his first match in 7 years, and blah 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 blah. Right? I feel like Darby really took himself to the limit in large swaths of this match and did a lot of really dangerous stuff. I feel like it would have been only fitting if Punk was taken to that limit by Darby for most of the match, and that Punk had to resort to something maybe like the Pepsi Plunge, to bring back the Pepsi Plunge from the ROH days, to finish off Darby and to put an exclamation point at the end of the match and say, all right, I'm back. I had to, I dropped the ace card on Darby Allin and put him in the Pepsi Plunge, and that was it. I felt like that would have been a better finish personally, but yeah, it's fine. We're gonna see a whole lot more Punk here as time goes on. So if you were disappointed by this match, don't fear. There's still plenty more to come here from CM Punk, I'm sure. But yeah, it wasn't the greatest match. It wasn't the greatest return, but it was fine. Could have been a lot worse.
It was definitely the match that probably Punk needed.
Yes.
Yeah. But you're spot on, because like this was not a squash by any stretch of the imagination, but it was a pretty easy win.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was a pretty. There was not really a whole lot of times Punk was in danger. He
Yeah.
controlled the 75+% of the match. I mean, by the way, the counter to the coffin drop, brilliant.
Oh,
Right,
God,
just sitting up,
Yeah, that is the
brilliant.
Undertaker
Oh, it was
sit up.
so good.
But yeah, I mean, he had to go to sleep within like 3 minutes of the match. It just dude fell out the ring. It was
Yeah.
not. It wasn't long. He wasn't really tested, and to your point, Tanner. So it's like, and this is, I mean, if you're looking from a hierarchy, what, like the third biggest star on the face side, maybe? So I expect like guys like Daniel Garcia to give Punk a run. I mean, he just walked in off the street and put it to Darby Allin
with some pants or some pajamas on, it seems.
with some pajama pants, and he had to reach deep in his closet to find the kick pads.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, but no, I mean, like, yeah, Darby will be fine, but
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's yeah. It was a good, if nothing else, it was a very good moment for AEW. Definitely their highest profile moment. I got Bleacher Report notifications like 5 times during this match saying go and buy the pay-per-view, and I was like, I'm already here. Like, what else do you want from me? But yeah, it's whatever. Moving right along here because we don't have much time. It's almost 1 a.m. here where I'm at. So. And I'm sure the sun's coming up where Mags is at, or it's already up.
It's been up a while.
Oh, fair enough. We had Paul White, Paul No More BS White, taking on QT Dad Marshall. Yeah. This match was quick. It needed to be quick.
This wasn't a match. This didn't happen. Let's move past. I know I said that Punk versus Darby Allin was the worst match on the card.
Yeah.
If we're being serious, this was.
this
We
was a
didn't
segment,
need.
dog. It wasn't a match, bro. It was a segment.
It didn't need to be in the core main event. That is just blasphemous that this was in the core main event. Horrific. Yeah, I didn't like one little bit of this. Who wants to see Big Show wrestle nowadays? And who wants to see him wrestle against Tnt Marshall? Nobody at all. This didn't need to happen.
Has anybody told Shane Douglas that this man stole his logo? Has anybody told him that?
Has anybody told Dominic Mysterio that he stole his ring gear?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. I think that sums up everything here that happened in this match. We'll move on.
This is what should have been on the pre-show.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have gotten anybody interested, but this should have been on the buy-in, honestly.
I mean, even the big spots, I mean, the whole thing was built around Big Show's chops, and they were weak. There was no kind of like echo. There was no kind of stank on them. It didn't need to happen. This match just didn't need to happen at all. I'm glad Big Show has got it out of his system. He obviously wanted to wrestle again. Cool. If he feels he can go, absolutely more power to him. But this wasn't it. It didn't need to happen. And especially on the AEW's biggest card of the year, this was a turd in the punch bowl.
Yeah. And I don't feel like that it really helped Paul all that much either. No. And he didn't look like he was moving very well. Like my husband and I were both looking at him going, he looks pigeon-toed. He doesn't look like he looks like he's physically hurting. Mm-hmm. He looks like he's in pain. He looks like he's going straight for the ice bath. Mm-hmm. Like get it out of your system. Like there's a reason there were no more "you still got it" chants in this match. I'm just saying.
You never had it.
Well, I don't. That's
in 2021. In 2021, CM Punk, Chris Jericho, and The Big Show went over on guys who are like 20 years younger than them in another company.
Mm-hmm. It's a thing that happened.
Yeah. Well, the streak does get broken here with our main event of WWE guys, former WWE guys, going over on the AEW guys here, as Kenny Omega obviously retains the AEW World Heavyweight Championship against Christian Cage. I'll go to something that Ray reminded me of earlier, and I'll kind of go in the round here, starting with Ori. Ray had told me during the match, as we were watching it backstage here from this beautiful studio that we're all in here on the internet, that it never really felt, obviously, that there was any danger in this match. That Christian Cage, as good as he was, that maybe the hat was a little bit tipped when Christian Cage beat Kenny Omega a few weeks ago.
There is flowers.
Yeah, that there was no sense of danger here of Christian Cage winning the title. Now, I thought the match was fine. I thought the match was better than fine. I thought it was really good. But I mean, did they play their hand a little bit too heavy on this one, perhaps, Ori?
Possibly. Quite possibly. I mean, I'm the type of person, I don't like to be spoiled. If it happens, it happens. But I always go into anything that I watch with a anything could happen type mindset. And especially after the Bucks dropping the title, it was very much, okay, maybe Kenny will win, maybe he won't. And I don't know. I think as the match went on, it became a little bit more obvious to me. And I can't pinpoint anything specifically that made me feel that way, but I don't know. Just something about it was the longer the match went on, the more things that happened. I was like, I don't think Christian's winning this one. Like I said, I don't know what it was specifically, but I was like, I don't think Christian's got this. And so, yeah, I mean, it was a good match. There was lots of great spots. God, that one spot through the table, I am very concerned about Christian's ribs, especially the fact that he was coughing up blood. Unless somebody saw a bit tongue or a busted lip or a busted nose somewhere.
Busted cheek.
I mean, yeah, something, you have to worry about the potential for internal bleeding, because the way that leg just came straight up on his ribs, it was nasty. Thank God for Canadian healthcare. That's all I can say. So, yeah, it was a good match overall, though. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was funny how Don was trying to stabilize the barrier, and Kenny slipped and his back just down the side of it. And then he regroups and still, hits the big move on him. I believe it was a moonsault, but it was great. It was really great. Things are starting to meld together in my brain now, but yeah, it was a great match overall. They look, Kenny sells like such a friggin' machine. Like I think that's really one of, like, my husband and I were watching it. He came in a little bit before that match started, and he was like, wow, Kenny sells really well. I was like, yeah. He goes, I really think he could, have an invisible opponent and it would work. And I was like, well, there was that one match with the blow up doll. And he's like, what? I'm like, it's a thing, YouTube. I'll let you go find it. So, but I mean, there's a reason Kenny's one of the best in the business. And so it was a great match, great ending. I think it went just the way it should have.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we still got to get the run back between Kenny and Hangman. That's still a thing. Mm-hmm. And yes. I don't think Kenny's going to drop that belt until it goes to Hangman, honestly.
Yeah, I think that Hangman is the shadowy figure in the corner of the saloon in, like, the Clint Eastwood movie, where, everybody's gone down and the town's in trouble and they need a new sheriff to come in, and that's Hangman. Hangman's going to be the guy at the end of the story to to topple Kenny.
Wearing his assless leather chaps.
Oh, oof. Mags, again, this match here is fine, but again, I didn't sense any danger here on
No.
Kenny's part. But again, a lot of the excitement came after the match, of course, too. I guess what did you make of this here as a match and a moment?
Yeah, I'm going to touch on some of the same points that Ori made, but for me, there were things that happened way before this match that telegraphed the result for me. Obviously, we had the pull back away from the Hangman Omega story. Then we got Christian kind of hot-shotted into his spot for this, which when something like that happens, you can always kind of sense that it's filler. Then we had the rumors of who was coming in. Obviously, we had the rumors of Daniel Bryan for such a long time, and then more recently the rumors of Mr. Jenkins maybe popping his head up. So for all those kind of like all mixed together, I felt the writing was on the wall that Kenny was retaining, because as good as Christian is as a wrestler, nobody's watching AEW for Christian versus Adam Cole. Nobody's watching AEW for Christian versus Daniel Bryan. Nobody's watching it for Christian versus Hangman Page. It's Kenny Omega versus these guys that we all as a fan base want to see. And like I said when Ray was talking about it, Christian got his flowers when he won the Impact title. That title probably actually means more on Christian than it ever did on Kenny because of his history with the company. But in terms of the match, this was absolutely superb. I mean, Kenny is arguably the best wrestler in the world today, and Christian is definitely no slouch. One of the most underappreciated, underrated wrestlers of the past 20 years. Some great spots. I mean, the way that Christian had to be finished with an avalanche one-winged angel, that was glorious. It was an absolutely outstanding match, but we're not going to remember the match because of what happened straight after the match. That was the big thing. That was AEW throwing everything at us and going bang, 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 bang. You have to watch Dynamite next week, because we've got the two biggest free agents in the history of the business signed to our company.
In a 6-week span, they've signed Malachi Black, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, and Adam Cole now.
It's so top heavy. Yeah, so top heavy of a card.
They're literally just one ricochet away from it being like
PWG 2012.
PWG 2021. This would be great.
The AEW Baller Tournament, it may be a real thing.
Would be enormous and awesome, and I would watch every second of it.
But yeah, the match was outstanding, as good of a main event as you'll see in recent memory. Quality finish, and then the surprises. Well, one which wasn't much of a surprise because we kind of expected Daniel Bryan. It's been teased by Cassidy over at Body Slam for a long time, and then Ray's favourite, Adam Cole. I know he was waiting for this guy to turn up in AEW, and he got his wish. Ray, your boy is all elite, baby.
Ray, you don't seem impressed.
Thanks for that. Hey, look, when you're a fan of a dude, you follow him. I'm happy for him. I just hope. I know a lot of people give Tony Khan and the EVPs and AEW the benefit of the doubt. I give nobody the benefit of the doubt because they're all carnies. Everybody's carny. Everybody's in here to get your money, to get over and to do what they can do to keep you from getting your money.
Yeah. So
I don't trust anybody. So you got to prove it to me that he's going to be used consistently, and I'll shut up. I'll be fine. I'm very willing and comfortable to give it time to see what he does. But I just know his first appearance, he was upstaged by a bigger free agent. So Getting
It was like playing top trumps, weren't it? Like I play my Adam Cole card, and he goes, "Yeah, I will see your card with this."
Man, really, like, yeah, it's, hey, well, I put down the ace of diamonds. Well, nope, here goes my spade. Like, come on, dog.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think Adam Cole was still kind of up in the air. I think we still weren't really, despite all of the things that they had been teasing. I mean, the Bucks, they've been on this thing lately about new bio, and there was a tweet that they had put out, I think last week, saying new bio, and it was a YouTube link to the most haunted, most disturbing seances, or something like that.
How to bring people back from the dead, yeah, like that.
All kinds of different things. And so it's like, they've been teasing it, but we still weren't really sure. I mean, yes, they teased CM Punk and it paid off, but at the end of the day, the Bucks can be some of the biggest trolls out there, to be perfectly honest. So, you almost have to kind of take them with a grain of salt. You can't fully invest in it because, they enjoy doing that, messing with us as much as we kind of enjoy being messed with, to be perfectly honest with them. So I think it was very smart to drop that, that Adam Cole bomb first and then get the definitive, Bryan Danielson, because we were pretty sure that was coming. So
if you were gonna
I was honestly more surprised by Adam Cole than I was Bryan Danielson, and I was much more surprised by Ruby Soho, because the first video that she put out, it said Orlando to NYC. So I thought she was coming at Arthur Ashe, to be perfectly honest with you. I had no clue who the Joker could potentially be. I knew there was a chance it was Ruby Soho, but I really thought we were going to get her at Arthur Ashe because of that ticket that she had in the video. So I think it was a smart way to play it, to throw Adam Cole in there first to throw us completely off.
Sure.
And then bring in Danielson to just completely solidify the insanity.
If they were going to, they had to do it. Adam Cole has to be the first surprise, and then you end with Danielson. But they didn't have to do Cole first. And that's the whole thing, is like they literally put him out there and like, hey, Cole's here. Oh, by the way, wait, nope, we got the real guy we wanted who's going to end the show. And then Adam Cole is joining the Elite, where he's the second guy in the Elite. Like he's a singles guy. He's not a tag team wrestler. He's the singles guy who's going to clearly be fashioned underneath Kenny Omega. So it's just like, while Kenny's fighting Danielson, who's Adam Cole going to be fighting?
Miro.
Probably Jungle Boy.
Well,
that's the guy super kick.
I mean, Miro's kind of a heel.
But eventually,
sure, but they wouldn't do Miro versus Cole for a while.
No, not this thing. No.
Yeah, but I'm happy. If the issue is with him being there, the issue is that again he's gonna be secondary, and that was my concern. That was my concern, is that he was gonna be another guy. And right now, the Elite got like 10 people in it, and he's another guy in the Elite.
Until GOD takes Good Brother.
Well, sure. Just a quick note on Christian. Fun fact: y'all know this is the first time Christian's ever been TNA champion, because when he was there, he was the NWA champion. So when Mag says it means something to him, I'm sure it does, because he never helped that company's belt, and that company was probably what he feels got him to the main event. Second quick thought on the Christian match is, man, I love me some Christian, and Christian is probably one of the most underrated wrestlers we've ever seen. But don't you think it wears on him that he's always like used as a conduit? Because think about it. So how much of his career, once he became a viable single star, was used to kind of just as a pawn for Edge, or pawn for this guy, or pawn for that guy? He comes to AEW where, you know, he's expected to be treated correctly, and they introduce him as one of the biggest signings, Hall of Fame signing ever, and nobody thinks it's Christian. And he comes out to like a, hey, it's Christian, yay. And he's been winning and winning and winning, and everybody wants it to be Hangman versus Omega, and Hangman got to go away, and all of a sudden, hey, by the way, it's Christian. Hey, yeah. And he wins the Impact title 3 weeks before he has to fight for the main title. And then the night he gets the match, oh yeah, CM Punk is back in Chicago. Not only that, but we know Bryan Danielson's coming at the end of the night. Like, man, if you're Christian, you're like, bro, give me 1 day. Like, what?
Well, I think that's kind of the nice thing too about, again, what we talked about in the chat before we even started this show is, you know, yes, this does seem like there's no there's no real resolution here for Christian. Like, there's no threat from Christian here in this match. But the saving grace here, the shelter from the storm, is he's Impact Champion now. He has a different place to go to. He can go and compete in Impact without the fear of, oh, well, I'm here on this really congested AEW roster now, and there's not really something for me to do. At least he's got an outlet, unlike several other people that are stuck in a different situation.
And not only that, you've got to remember he's kind of in a similar boat that Punk was in. He was put on the shelf. He was cast out. He was you can't wrestle ever again. So every wrestling match he has now is a blessing. It's something that he perhaps could never have dreamed that he was going to be able to do again. And the fact that he's now wrestling with the likes of Kenny Omega, potentially with Punk, Daniel Bryan, Adam Cole, he's getting all these, for him, dream matches. He may be very well happy just to be in the mix of that, and then also to have the added benefit of helping push these younger, hungry stars. I mean, the rub that he's giving Jungle Boy, for instance, that's it's heartwarming, it's wholesome. I think Christian will be glad to be a cog in this exciting AEW wheel.
And I just want to acknowledge in the chat, Matt Willis, our friend, is in the chat with simply just crying emojis. Matt, my heart goes out to you, buddy, because I can imagine as a very pro.
Maybe take some hormones. That could work with the crying.
Wow. Hey.
No. It's okay.
No. It's human to cry.
There's a joke.
Matt gave hormonal advice as Dr. Matt earlier on today.
There's a joke in the Radio Tekkers episode. If you haven't seen it already, I'll try and put the link somewhere here in the post-production because it's just a great episode. But anyway, fun night. Really good stuff. Really exciting debuts. Really exciting moments. AEW puts on another really fun event. Sends the fans home happy. I personally can't wait for Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega. Whenever that happens, that's going to be an amazing match, I'm sure. But yeah. Oh, does anybody else have any final notes here before we close out the show tonight?
I mean, when is an AEW pay-per-view not going to give us amazing things like this? How many more free agents are out there that we can keep getting these surprises?
Don't say that, because there's a lot of them. Don't say that.
Yeah.
I mean, just let them in. Just let them in.
No, don't do that. Just keep them at home. That's what I'll say. Keep them away.
I'd be curious to know, when is enough? Because he has come out recently over the past few weeks and said that he doesn't think that they could ever have a big enough roster. When is enough? Because like these boys all getting paid. So, and you ain't bringing these boys in for cheap. Clearly. They're not in here working for a hot dog and a handshake. So hey, right now they are kicking on all cylinders. They are fantastic appointment television. You'd be stupid if you missed. Even if you don't enjoy 100% of it, there's 75 or more percent of that you'll enjoy. But man, like, again, you can't keep booking for the day. You gotta book for the future.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think that end point comes with Ricochet almost, at least for the time being. The day that Ricochet's contract finally runs out and he can sign with AEW, I think that would be just like the last little bit of icing on the cake of perfection for an AEW roster. I think you could take a break for a while after this. You can calm down a little
we
while.
need
AEW.
some processing time.
Yes.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
we do.
Yes. But yeah, I mean that's the only option that comes to mind right away is Ricochet for me. But yeah, good stuff. That's a great question though. When is enough enough? Never.
I'll
what
say
Tony said.
this. I'll say this for the men's division. I think we're there. I really do. I wouldn't mind seeing Ricochet. There's a couple others that if they showed up, I wouldn't be upset. The women's division,
Yes.
give me AJ Lee. Give me AJ Lee. Give me some more girls from Stardom. Give me some more women. Give me Session Moth frickin' Martina.
Well, she signed.
I
to
want to
Ring of
see
Honor.
Session Moth.
She signed a Ring of Honor, but
Yes.
you know,
And that
I don't
would love
care.
to see
That
it.
door
that
is
forbidden
open.
door is nailed shut.
Yeah, that door,
Yeah,
that door's not gonna crack open anytime soon.
that's the one
unfortunately.
door that's really
That's-
forbidden.
That bridge is actually still on fire. It's still smoldering.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
You don't hear
It's-
you ain't never.
But
When's the last time you heard them talk? When's the last time you heard him talk about All In? You don't hear it.
That's true.
The door is closed.
They burned down Ring of Honor when they left, unfortunately. But you never know. One day is possible.
Tony's got a lot of cocaine money. So
Oh Lord.
Allowance. You know. It's got his-
Oh man.
I think we could do with a few more women to continue to fill out the roster.
Yeah,
really
I
well.
completely agree with that point. Absolutely.
The inspiration.
Abso-friggin-lutely. Abso-friggin-lutely.
They're sitting right there.
I know. And I think moves are being made. I would not be surprised if discussions haven't already happened in that direction, especially since they have basically come out and said they're back, and have branded themselves as the inspiration.
I remember Cassie is married to Sean Spears.
I was just about to say that. Just taking the words right out of my mouth there, Ray.
Sorry, Tanner. I'll shut up now.
No, you're good, man. I've talked too much on this episode.
And get some women's tag. And once you fill out that women's roster and get it more robust, do some women's tag belts.
I'd be happy
You've
with
got
that.
plenty of people. It did wonders for the Knockouts division. Can't say it didn't.
Agreed. Wholeheartedly. Yes.
All right.
Give me what I want. I'll say it a lot calmer than other people.
Sure,
Give me
thing.
what I want. Mostly because it's 1 a.m. and I'm really tired at this point.
Yes.
My
Let's go
energy is just
home.
gone.
Let's go home because Mags has to go to work at some point today, and we
And
all
it's
have
7
to,
a.m.
yeah. We all have to go to sleep. Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button wherever you're watching this. I assume YouTube or Twitch. If you got this on some bootleg place elsewhere,
If you're watching this on WatchWrestling.in, bravo. Absolutely bravo.
yeah, hit that subscribe button on Crack Streams where you can get more Radio Tekkers
Lamb
content.
torrents.
Oh my grief.
Pirate Bay.
Napster. Here I'm Napster.
LimeWire. We've all gone goofy at this point.
Well, Ori, where can people find more of you and your content?
You can find me here on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitch at Ori the Draw.
Very cool. Very cool. And Ray, where can people find more of you and your content?
Well, every fourth Sunday from between the hours of 2 a.m. to 2:06 a.m. You can find me at SJP. Did I say right? Words? SPJ?
Words?
Words?
Yeah.
Oh, shout
Yeah.
out to Sa. He doesn't get
Any
enough
other,
love.
any other time you can find me here.
Oh,
It's Ray
okay.
Cash. RAY is Mysterio, CASH as in dollars, as in them dollars that Tony Khan just throwing out there for everybody. Tony, I
You
took
get
a
a
bump once.
contract.
Can you sign me?
You get a contract.
I've
You
taken
get
a bump.
contract.
I've run the ropes. Can I get signed? I
Mm.
need some of that money.
I can do air squats all day. It's all good. We can run the
I can
ropes.
book some interviews. I can interview people. Where's my money?
And I'm punctual.
There you
I
go.
know I'll turn up.
Punctual,
Oh.
prepared.
And Mags, where can people find more of you and your content?
So you can find me at Sock Puppet Matt on
Yes.
Twitter, where I am a sock pretending to be a doctor, pretending to be a chef. But in reality, you can find me here at Podfather Mags. I am all over the intrawebs with content, Chair Shot, Visionaries Global Media, here on Radio Tekkers, doing every podcast. If there's a subject out, I will wing it and talk about that subject on a podcast. So, book Mags.
There you go. Hashtag book Mags. There you go. That's it. Well, that's the end of this one here, folks. Leave us a comment in the comments
Tanner.
if you're feeling like
Tanner.
comments.
You
No
never
one
said
wants to know
anybody
where
could find
Tanner-
And
you.
our fearless leader is at.
Oh, Podfather
Texas.
Mags. You can
Yay!
no.
No.
You
At
can,
Headlock Talk.
yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Headlock Talk. No, you can't. You probably could if you tried, but I might not message you back. You can find me on Twitter at Texas.
Ignorant.
Yeah, at Texas Gentleman _. You can find me there on Twitter, or you can also just hit me up at the Radio Tekkers Twitter handle, which is RADIOTEKKERS. There you go, Radio Tekkers, right there, just right down there at the bottom. Look, it's just right. It's right there. It's right there. Leave us a comment in the comment if you're feeling like comments about the show, and yeah, AEW. Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, CM Punk. And yes, Matt is not a trained doctor. Good night, everybody.
That was.